In a time of great turmoil, a baby boy was born into a world of danger. His name was Moses, and his story would change the course of history. Picture this: ancient Egypt, a land of pyramids and pharaohs. The Hebrew people, once welcomed, now enslaved. And in the midst of it all, a desperate mother, trying to save her newborn son from certain death. You see, Pharaoh had ordered all Hebrew baby boys to be killed. But Moses' mother had a plan. She crafted a small basket, waterproofed it with pitch and tar, and with trembling hands, placed her precious child inside. Then, with a prayer on her lips, she set the basket adrift on the Nile River. Can you imagine the fear and hope mingled in her heart as she watched her baby float away? Little did she know that this act of courage would set in motion events that would shape the destiny of nations. Now, here's where things get interesting. As fate would have it, or perhaps by divine design, the basket floated right to the spot where Pharaoh's daughter was bathing. Intrigued by the crying infant, she rescued him from the water and decided to raise him as her own. Talk about a plot twist. So, Moses grew up in the lap of luxury, a prince of Egypt. But deep down, he knew he was different. He felt a connection to the Hebrew slaves, a people he would later discover were his own. One day, everything changed. Moses witnessed an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave. In a moment of rage and justice, he struck the Egyptian, killing him. Suddenly, the prince became a fugitive, fleeing into the desert to escape Pharaoh's wrath. For years, Moses lived in exile in Midian, tending sheep and starting a family. But his story was far from over. In fact, it was about to take an extraordinary turn. Picture this: a lonely shepherd, watching his flock on a mountainside. Suddenly, he spots something bizarre, a bush that's on fire, but not burning up. Curiosity gets the better of him, and as he approaches, he hears a voice. Not just any voice, but the voice of God himself. Can you imagine the shock, the disbelief? God was calling Moses to lead his people out of slavery in Egypt. Talk about a career change. From shepherd to liberator in one divine conversation. But Moses wasn't so sure. "Who am I to do this?" he asked. "What if they don't believe me?" God, patient but insistent, gave Moses signs and wonders to perform. A staff that turned into a snake, a hand that became leprous and then healed. Still, Moses hesitated, claiming he wasn't a good speaker. So God appointed Moses' brother Aaron as his spokesperson. And so, with divine backing and a reluctant heart, Moses set off back to Egypt. The stage was set for an epic showdown between a humble shepherd and the most powerful man in the world, Pharaoh. Now, you might think Pharaoh would listen to reason, especially when confronted with miraculous signs. But no, his heart was hardened. Each time Moses demanded, "Let my people go," Pharaoh refused. And with each refusal, a plague struck Egypt. Water turned to blood. Frogs overran the land. Gnats and flies swarmed everywhere. Livestock died. Boils broke out on people and animals. Hail rained down from the sky. Locusts devoured crops. Darkness covered the land for 3 days. Can you imagine living through such chaos? The Egyptians were terrified, but Pharaoh remained stubborn. Until the final, most devastating plague, the death of every firstborn son in Egypt. Only then did Pharaoh relent and let the Israelites go. But the drama wasn't over yet. As the Israelites fled, Pharaoh changed his mind once again and sent his army in pursuit. Picture the scene: a massive crowd of people, carrying all they owned, racing across the desert. Behind them, the thunder of chariot wheels and the glint of Egyptian spears. They reached the Red Sea, trapped between the water and the approaching army. Can you feel the panic, the desperation? But Moses, trusting in God's promise, stretched out his staff over the sea. And then, the impossible happened. The waters parted, creating a dry path through the middle of the sea. But Moses' journey was far from over. Leading a nation of former slaves through the wilderness was no easy task. There were challenges at every turn: lack of food and water, attacks from enemy tribes, and worst of all, the constant complaining and rebellion of the people he was trying to save. Yet through it all, Moses persevered. He received the 10 Commandments from God on Mount Sinai, establishing the laws that would govern the Israelite nation. He mediated between God and the people, interceding on their behalf when they strayed. As we reflect on Moses' incredible journey, we can't help but wonder, what challenges await us? What seemingly impossible tasks might we be called to undertake? And most importantly, will we have the courage to say yes when our moment comes? Moses' story reminds us that greatness often comes from the most unlikely places. A baby in a basket became a prince. A fugitive became a prophet. A shepherd became a liberator. It's a testament to the power of faith, perseverance, and the extraordinary potential that lies within each of us. So the next time you face a challenge that seems too big to handle, remember Moses. Remember the burning bush, the parted sea, the long journey through the wilderness. And ask yourself, what's my Red Sea? What's my burning bush moment? What great task am I being prepared for? Because who knows? Your story, like Moses, might just change the world.